Hi everyone, it's Morah Odette. Today we're going to be doing a science experiment on how plants grow. And we're going to plant a bean or a seed in a jar, and we're not going to use any soil. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about spring a little bit by reading a book. After the book, we're going to talk about the life cycle of a bean and a plant, and then we're going to start our experiment. What we do in spring. A wet season. Spring begins in March. Spring can be a wet season. Snow melts and icicles drip. We watch rain fall from dark clouds. Can you name the months of the spring? That would be March, April, May, and a little bit of June. So in the spring, it starts to get warmer. We wear raincoats and boots to play outside. Puddles form on the paths. We run and jump and splash. We take a nature walk in the park. We look for toads in the woods. We look for frogs at the pond. We find turtles on a sunny rock. We watch a robin build a nest. She carries grass and twigs into a tree. She lays eggs in the nest, and she sits on the eggs to keep them warm. And most robin eggs are blue, so that's very cool. Green and growing. Plants grow in spring. We see tulips and lilacs, apples and cherry trees bloom. Tiny green buds on trees turn into new leaves. And everything that we see outside, all the trees, all the plants, they all grew from one tiny little seed. We buy seeds for our garden. We plant 1 row of peas. We plant 1 row of beets. We plant 1 row of carrots. So you see, that's a seed, and it grows into so many different things. Like it could grow into a carrot, into lettuce. Those seedlings are young plants started from seeds. In school, we learn about worms. They wiggle and tickle. Worms are good for the earth. They break down dead plants and animals. Worms make space for roots to grow. Outside, we jump rope. We play hopscotch, and the wind blows our hair. The wind bends the treetops. It lifts kites up high. We decorate our house for spring. We make classroom, we make flowers, birds, and kites to hang on the walls. Okay, so I hope you guys liked that story, and I hope you learned something about spring. And what we're focusing on is more about the green and growing page, where it spoke about seeds and how it grew into plants and trees. So let's get started with that. There's a word that talks about the process of how a seed turns into a huge plant, and that word is germinate. Could you say germinate? It's a long word, but it's very important because it's all about how one little seed starts to grow. It starts to get roots, and then it turns into a tree. So all seeds and beans are alive. Like you have a seed in your hand, it's actually alive. If you plant it in dirt and you give it sunlight and water and you give it time, it's gonna grow into a tree. If it's an apple seed, it could turn into an apple tree. You just need certain things to make it grow. So what we're going to do today is we're going to plant a seed in a jar, but we're not even going to use dirt. We're just gonna watch how a seed germinates, how it starts grow out of the seed roots. And I'm gonna show you a plant life cycle. So it starts off as a seed or a bean. And then once you plant it, it's gonna start to germinate and something is gonna start to come out of that seed. Afterwards, it's gonna keep growing and it's gonna start getting bigger. That little root is gonna grow some leaves and it's gonna make its own root in the dirt. And you're gonna see the roots and stems starting to form. Afterwards, we have a little cute small plant. But then it turns into a flower or a tree. And all of this revolves around the sun. Everything that needs to grow needs sunlight. And so remember, this is the process. It's germinate. That's what we're focusing on. We're going to plant the seed and we're going to watch the seed germinate every day. So after we're going to plant our seed, I'm going to show you this chart and what we're going to do with it. So the supplies that you are going to need is a jar, you need some beans, paper towels or Bounty, and some water. So now that I have my supplies of Bounty, a water sprayer, a jar, and then I chose my beans. Notice the color of the beans that you chose. Some of them are white and some of them are brown and very big. Feel the texture of the beans before you start to plant them. So first we're going to put the Bounty in. I'm gonna measure it to make sure that it's like not too high. So I'm gonna fold it a little bit, the Bounty, and then I'm going to put it in. And it's dry, so it's a lot easier to put in. I'm gonna make it into a circular way, just the way I folded it. You can have your mom or dad or older brother and sister help you if you need help. Okay, so now that we put it in, I could add the beans. Also, I chose a different type of bean for this video too. It's like this light brown bean with lines on it. Okay, so I'm gonna start putting those in. So it's a lot easier now because it's dry. You want to make sure that they're separated so that they have room to grow. And then I'm going to add one like bigger size bean. Okay, so now again, we have the same thing. It's empty on the inside. So I'm going to take more Bounty that's dry. And I'm just going to put it in so that it stays in and nothing moves. We don't want the beans to move while they grow. So that's why we're adding Bounty. And the reason why we're using Bounty is because it's made out of cotton, and that's what helps this grow without any soil. Okay, so now it's filled, and our beans are very comfortable. They're not moving. So now the water. So you're gonna add water. You're not gonna soak it. So like this part, I think you could ask somebody older to help you, just to make sure that you get the water in the sides of the jar. Okay, let's add a little bit more. Okay, so I think that's good enough. We have our Bounty around the jar in the inside, and then we have our bean also around. And you're not going to use your lid, you're not covering it. And all you're going to need to do is put it in the sunlight, and every day you're going to watch it grow. So on our chart that is going to be with this video, it's going to have a chart that says growing beans chart. And over here it says the days. So day 1, day 2, day 3, and it goes all the way until day 14. So every day you're going to check on your jar and see, did it start growing? Do you notice anything different? If you see that it started growing, in this box you're going to make a check. If you didn't see anything growing that day, you're going to make an X. In this third box, you're going to draw a picture of what you see. Just like in our chart, we saw that it first started off as a bean, and it started germinating. So once you start seeing that it germinated and roots are starting to come from it, you could draw a picture every day of it getting bigger and bigger. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and we're going to check on our jar every single day to see if it grew. So good luck. And also just one more thing. Every couple of days, go in and wet your Bounty a little bit. Don't take it out, just maybe spray it a little bit or just put some water so that the beans still have some water. And so we have our things that are necessary for it to grow. We have sunlight and we have water and it has air. That's why we're leaving our lid off. It's day 3 of our experiment and our beans have started to grow. As you could see, that there's something starting to grow from the bean. That means that it started to germinate. So the other ones, you can't really see it because it's like behind, it's not in front, but they really all started to grow. The first 2 days, I actually saw nothing. So today, I'm going to be making a check. I'm gonna draw a picture of the bean starting to germinate because this is what I see. So I made a check and then the bean starting to germinate. As a last step, if you have somewhere to plant it outside, you could take your plant and plant it outside and watch it grow even more. You're going to take out the plant with the Bounty and you're going to plant it into the dirt as is so that the plant stays strong as it grows. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.